CMUEagles.com with Central Methodist head men's basketball coach Jeff Sherman as the Eagles prepare to take on 22nd ranked Evangel on Thursday inside Puckett Fieldhouse at 7:30 p.m. Coach, when the rankings for the top 25 came out on Tuesday, you and your team and Evangel essentially did a flip-flop. So how's it feel to be the hunter instead of the hunted for this week?
Well, again, I think the biggest priority right now is it's a conference game. I think what it says probably at this point is both teams are doing pretty good, if you're at least getting mentioned in the ratings. From a personal opinion, Evangel wasn't in the ratings last week because of their overall record. Conference record, they're undefeated. So they sit on top of the conference, first place. Anybody that knows that usually whoever ends up on top of our conference tends to be a top 10 team. So right now they are the hunted. Flip-flopping in the ratings is kind of a nice story when it's the same number. I'm pleased that we're still mentioned. I think that means that the one loss didn't hurt us too bad. But right now it's all about conference standings. We're really a game and a half behind Evangel right now, and that's the big focus, and that's what we're focusing on for Thursday night's game.
Thursday's headline features two of the winningest coaches in the NAIA, two programs that are familiar with each other. You and Steve have had battles going on decades now. Just talk about what kind of coach he is and what kind of a challenge it is going up against a Steve Jenkins program. Well,
first of all, Steve Jenkins is a very good friend of mine. It's hard not to be when you've been competing against each other for about 30 years. He's not only a phenomenal coach and has an outstanding program. He's a Missouri Coaches Association NAIA Hall of Fame member, but he's a better person on top of that. So when you have something like this, I wish him well. I wish him winning as many games as possible, except two. So Thursday night's ball game, you take away the personal side, the friendship, and your teams are competing. His teams are very disciplined. They have one of the finest motion offensive teams, and it doesn't matter what year it is. These teams are just very similar. They're always among the top in the conference within the NAIA, and we have had some tremendous battles through the years. I think the overall win-loss record is for us versus Evangel is pretty even. And the thing that we remember the most is how we finished our season. Really, the last 2 to 3 years has been at Evangel. So we know a lot about Evangel. They know a lot about us. It's always a good ball game. So I don't think tomorrow night's going to be any exception to that.
Last year's contest inside Puckett Fieldhouse was also a dinner in the house night, but Evangel came in very motivated after your team had just entered the rankings at 22nd for the first time last season. Kind of similar to this year, but a little spread out in terms of the weeks and the rankings. Is that something you remind your team of in last year's game?
You just now reminded me. So I guess, no, we haven't, and I don't know if it's something that we would. The dinner in the house, obviously for those that don't know, the whole entire campus eats their dinner on our off-court in Puckett Fieldhouse. Fresh Ideas sets everything up. And what this does is it provides a wonderful crowd opportunity for both the men's and the women's ball game. And Evangel has played very strong here at Puckett Fieldhouse. They're one of the teams that you take away what their record is, you take away anything else. They're a very seasoned road team, and they've come up with some good wins. In fact, they almost pulled off an upset win at Oklahoma Baptist University just a few weeks ago, and that's one of the toughest places in the country to play. So no, it's since you mentioned that to me today, that might be something we bring up later in practice.
When you look at the last time these two teams played in the HAC tournament last year, it was a record-setting day for three-point shooting. Evangel was able to whittle it back and come back in overtime and win. With having several guys back from that team, from that game from last year, do you think that sticks around in their memory at all, and just kind of what do you remember about that last game?
Well, it was our last game of the season. That's what I remember the most. It was It was in a lot of ways a rewarding game with your team going on the road, just laying it on the line. We did tie an NAI record that had been up for forever for the most three-point shots made in a game, and we had to be able to do that to send to that, was it double overtime loss or whatever it was. We did have a good lead. I didn't know exactly the amount of points, but it just goes to show you what this game's about. We've been down 20 points this year and have fought our way back to within a one-possession ball game. We've had good leads like we did at Avila this past weekend, and found ourselves coming on the lower end of that game. With that, the challenge is there. The returning players don't need to be reminded. That already might be an inner motivation for them. I think the new players would like to hear about it and know that they don't want to take part in something like that. But we need to still establish ourselves here at Puckett, here at home in Fayette. And so if we can do that with a team like Evangel this week, that only carries over for our next game at Olathe on Saturdays. So we know what the challenges are. They're a good ball team. Again, now they're another national ranked team that we have on our schedule, and we've been fortunate enough that we've had a number of those already. So I think we're up for the challenge. We have, we still have some lineup issues that we have to work out, but that'll be an exciting night.
Corey Tillery, a name that's not new to you and to your team, leads Evangel this season, scoring 18.5 a game. What are some of the things that you see on film from him that make him a difficult matchup?
Oh, he's good. Again, NAI National Player of the Week last week. He's back-to-back Players of the Week here in the Heart of America. He's a four-man, one of the most strong physical players, not only in our league but the country. He's pulled up some huge numbers right now on single night scoring and rebounding. Whenever you can get over 20 rebounds in a game, in this time of the game, with as many good players as there are, that's phenomenal. He's a tough matchup. He'll be even a tougher matchup for us with the loss of Eric McDaniel for the season. And we're going to have to mix some different lineups in, and Eric being our best inside interior defender. So that happening as quick as it is will cause a headache for any team. Right now it's going to be a challenge for us, but at the same time it's what we do with everybody else. They got three good guards that can shoot the ball. They got good size. They got good depth. And so that's what's helping them propel at the top of the conference. But right now, in my opinion, he's the player of the year in the conference until somebody proves otherwise. And he's going to come in loaded, ready to play, because it's a big game for them too. So it'll be a big one.